What if I told you there was one forgotten order buried deep in the Clone Army's programming that could have completely rewritten Star Wars history? What if the very soldiers Palpatine used to destroy the Jedi could have been turned against him instead? Everyone knows Order 66, the infamous command that turned clone troopers against their Jedi generals in one devastating, galaxy-altering moment. But there were 149 other contingency orders, and one of them, Order 65, was a different beast entirely. According to Republic military protocols, Order 65 was brutally simple. In the event the Supreme Chancellor was deemed unfit for command, the Grand Army of the Republic was authorized to detain him by any means necessary. This wasn't a suggestion, it was a biological compulsion hardwired into every single clone trooper's inhibitor chip from the moment they were decanted on Kamino. When an order was given, clones didn't hesitate. They didn't question, they acted. The irony is staggering. Palpatine's own creation, the key to his ultimate power, was programmed with the ability to arrest or even eliminate him. Order 65 was the ultimate failsafe, a hidden dagger aimed at the heart of tyranny. Picture it. Mace Windu stands over a defeated Palpatine. Instead of betrayal, a different command is issued. In the Chancellor's office, Commander Fox and the Coruscant Guard don't move to arrest the Jedi. They turn their blasters on the hooded figure of Darth Sidious. Across the galaxy, clone commanders receive the directive and their loyalty shifts, their biological programming overriding any allegiance to the man they once served. The Empire dies before it is ever born. This wasn't a flaw in the system. It was the system's last, desperate hope, waiting for a command that never came. What if one clone trooper's warning didn't fall on deaf ears? In our timeline, Order 66 was a ghost in the machine, a whisper of treason no one believed. But let's rewind. 6 months before the fall of the Republic, the Clone Wars rage on. This time, when the Trooper Fives screams about inhibitor chips and a plot against the Jedi, Master Shaak Ti listens. She doesn't dismiss it, she brings it to the Jedi Council as a code red emergency. Suddenly, the puzzle pieces begin to snap into place. Anakin Skywalker, wrestling with his allegiance, finally sees the unnatural hunger in Palpatine's eyes when the Chancellor speaks of the dark side. Mace Windu, his suspicions already piqued by the Chancellor's growing power, sees a pattern. Votes that swing at the last second. Battle plans that are always one step behind the enemies. It's too perfect. The breakthrough comes from the last place they expect. Count Dooku's lightsaber hilt. Inside, a hidden Sith holocron. The Jedi Council convenes in an emergency session, the lights of Coruscant twinkling below. They play the recording, and they hear it. The voice of Dooku's master. The voice of Chancellor Palpatine. Yoda's eyes widen in horror. The Dark Lord of the Sith, in plain sight he has been. But here, history pivots. There is no desperate march to the Chancellor's office, no chaotic duel of fates. Windu remembers a conversation with Commander Cody about military contingency orders, about failsafes. A lightning bolt of realization strikes him. He stands before the council, holographic commanders from across the galaxy flickering around him. Masters, he says, his voice steady. The Republic has already given us the tools to remove him. Commander Cody, execute Order 65. Picture this. The galaxy is bleeding 6 months before the end of the Clone Wars. But in this timeline, something changes. It starts with a whisper. A clone trooper named Fives, his desperate warning about inhibitor chips, but this time it doesn't fall on deaf ears. Master Shaak Ti, overseeing the clones on Kamino, sees the horrifying truth in his final moments. She brings the warning directly to the Jedi Council, not as a concern, but as a code red threat to the Republic itself. Simultaneously, the cracks begin to show on Coruscant. Anakin's discomfort with Palpatine's fatherly advice finally curdles into suspicion. He overhears a conversation, sees how the Chancellor's eyes gleam with an unnatural hunger when discussing the dark side. The investigation explodes.
Mace Windu, already wary of the Chancellor's ever-growing power, starts connecting the dots. Why is Palpatine always one step ahead? How does he know so much about ancient Sith techniques? The final proof comes not from a vision, but from the hilt of a dead enemy's lightsaber. Inside Count Dooku's weapon, the Jedi find a Sith holocron. The voice on the recordings is unmistakable. In an emergency session of the Council, the evidence is laid bare. Yoda's ancient eyes widen, centuries of deception made clear in an instant. In plain sight, the Dark Lord has been. Clouded by the dark side, our vision was. But this is where the timeline shatters. No hasty march to the Chancellor's office, no duel that plays right into the Sith Lord's hands. Mace Windu remembers a conversation with Commander Cody about contingency plans, about fail-safes buried deep within military protocol. A new plan forms, cold and efficient. His voice cuts through the chamber's tension. Masters, we don't need to confront Palpatine ourselves. The Republic has already given us the tool to remove him legally. Commander Cody, open a channel to all clone commanders across the galaxy. Execute Order 65.
The moment those words leave Mace Windu's lips, the galaxy holds its breath. Across thousands of worlds, clone troopers stop mid-stride. Their eyes go blank for a fraction of a second as inhibitor chips override all personal loyalty. When awareness returns, they have one absolute directive: arrest Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. On Coruscant, it's a chillingly perfect advance. Every clone unit converges on the Senate building, their march steady, disciplined, and inexorable. Inside, Palpatine is at the height of his power, manipulating another vote, completely unaware his strings have just been cut. Then, the chamber doors burst open. Imagine his face, this master puppeteer, confronted not by Jedi, but by his own armored puppets. A clone commander's voice cuts through the chamber. Supreme Chancellor, by authority of Republic Military Protocol 65, you are under arrest. But this is Darth Sidious. He doesn't surrender. The mask of the kindly politician vaporizes. A storm of Force lightning erupts from his fingertips, blasting the first wave of troopers into the Senate pods. Chaos erupts. But here's the crucial detail of Order 65. It activates every clone. As the first wave falls, the second is already advancing. Then the third, thousands converging from every direction. Sidious is a god of destruction, but even a god can be drowned by an endless tide. Every monstrous display of the dark side is being recorded, broadcast to a horrified galaxy. His secret is over. The battle is brief, savage, and hopeless. He fights like a cornered beast, but the sheer numbers overwhelm him. Finally, the Dark Lord of the Sith is brought down not by a chosen one, but by the cold, brutal mathematics of the very army he forged for his own triumph.
I want to hear your theories. Drop them in the comments. And if you want to explore more alternate timelines, make sure to follow and subscribe for our next Star Wars What If.